Hi, I'm John Quigley, President and CEO of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In these challenging economic times, it's imperative that our residents and businesses band together to not only shop Elmhurst, but buy Elmhurst whenever possible. We have great stores in our city center, Spring Road, Butterfield Road, York and Villette Streets, St. Charles and Route 83, North Avenue and Lake Street, along North York and even Grand Avenue. I ask for your help. Let's keep our tax dollars in Elmhurst.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the awards and entertainment portion of our time together on behalf of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We also welcome in the future our cable television audience, and we thank Elmhurst, our kind of town, for being here this evening as well. I'm Ken Bartels, Director and Senior Vice President of the Community Bank of Elmhurst, and I will serve as your MC and possibly ringmaster this night. We have some important awards to recognize and some wonderful dancing in our future as well. This is also the Chamber's annual meeting, technical need to have one. And so to do that, I bring us to order and I ask that you stand for our Pledge of Allegiance, followed by our invocation. Tonight, our pledge will be led by John Scudder, who is the commander of the Elmhurst American Legion Post 187. Please welcome John.
Good evening. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance to our flag of our great country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Almighty God, we bow before you in gratitude for your blessings all around us. We especially thank you for the blessing of having talented volunteer leaders within our community able to help in a myriad of ways. We ask for your guidance for those individuals as we go into the future. Guide them, assist them, encourage them. Smile also upon our awardees and our talent as we acknowledge them this night and grant all of us wisdom, patience, and peace. Amen. Okay. Tonight we again welcome, to begin our program, our Chamber's President and CEO, now in his 16th year in such a role. For his remarks, please welcome John Quigley.
Thank you. I usually start by thanking you for the lukewarm round of applause. I hope it's just as inconsistent as when I leave the stage. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for tonight's 97th Annual Awards and Talent Showcase. For those of you who have been attending for 25 years or more, change has been the only constant. From the 1980s into the early 1990s, our chamber celebrated with dinner dances at either Diplomat West Banquet Hall or the Ambassador. For those of you relatively new to Elmhurst, that's the CVS Pharmacy and Panera Bread. By the way, I'm proud to report that at the 1990 installation dinner, as it was also known back then, it netted a tidy profit of $25 and then 33 cents. 25.33 in 1990. We'll make a little more this evening, thank goodness, for those of you who know how money conscious I am about making budget. In the mid-1990s, Our celebration moved to Drury Lane and concluded with a live theatrical performance. Then fellow director Dick Chase and I had the bright idea on doing a Taste of Elmhurst with a 300-item live auction. Remember that? Anybody? Which I quickly dumped after becoming president and CEO. During my 16-year chamber tenure, our awards roadshow has visited York Community High School, the Elmhurst American Legion THB Post 187, Elmhurst College, Monty's Elegant Banquets, Diplomat West, and here at the Waterford Banquet and Conference Center. Give the Waterford a great round of applause for setting up the room and doing the food service today. Anyone here happen to remember the 1960 event at the Legion Hall? It featured Vern Miller and his orchestra. No? Nobody? Then I guess the 1955 event at River Forest Country Club with Dick Mueller and his orchestra is out of the question. No? Come on, Tom Myers, you got to remember some of these. Here in Elmhurst, sorry, lost track for a second. You can only be so funny. Before I get on to my real remarks, I also would like to recognize my staff and interns who make it possible for us to put on major functions, do the annual networking events, do the educational events. We quickly put together an event that will feature Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner a week from Monday on February 8th, and we already have more than 30 of our members registered for that, so that's going very well. That can't be done without the help of a great staff, so if you would give a round of applause to Executive Assistant Tessa Zamgulis and our interns Maggie and Samin. Tessa would step forward, except I've got her taking pictures right now. So now, let me take a few minutes to talk about the productive influences that this organization and our members have had on our community. I'm proud to say that during my tenure, our chamber has become the voice for business at the municipal, township, county, state, and federal levels. Just yesterday, I was in Springfield all day, met with Governor Rauner, met with the head of the Illinois Department of Transportation, met with the head of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, and met with 4 state senators related to issues that are affecting our business community. Member advocacy is an integral component of our mission to promote an environment that creates success for local businesses and our community. We are actively engaged in the procedures relating to economic development policies and business-relevant legislative issues, advocating on behalf of our members in particular, but on behalf of the business community in general, before governmental bodies and agencies. We have opposed taxes and regulations that further burden business and supported fiscally responsible strategies for business investment and job growth. Here in Elmhurst, we have supported an array of economic development initiatives that, in the long run, have proven beneficial to residents, consumers, visitors, tourists, businesses, and our municipality. We were the first major organization to endorse the 2000 property tax referendum to rebuild York Community High School because we viewed it as a $77 million economic redevelopment engine tied to our housing and business industries. We were the first major organization to endorse ordinance changes and variances to allow 6-story buildings in our downtown Elmhurst core. Some of those buildings are going up as we speak. On Monday, the mayor and former mayors and aldermen and city staff that were involved in the construction of the public-private partnership that brought us a 690-car parking deck into our downtown on Addison. Give that a great round of applause. And folks, it's no coincidence that once the city committed to that deck, projects ranging from $20 million to $50 million have popped up all around that project in the downtown. And you'll see the fruits of that in 2016, 2017, and 2018. Give that a nice round of applause. I know he's in the room. In particular, I'd like to thank David Strasberg of Morningside Group. He's been involved in the Hahn Street project, now known as Elmhurst 255, for probably 10 of the 14 years that that project first started being thought of at the city level. and he never walked away from the project. He stayed committed to Elmhurst, and he will have 180-some residents in that building by the end of this year. Give that a nice round of applause. We supported both extending free shopper parking in our downtown from 2 to 3 hours and designating surface parking lot spaces for permitted employees. And in fact, in the new deck on Addison, the top floor of that parking deck is parking for part-time employees, that they can pay a discounted rate to park in the heart of our downtown to be there. So we're happy to have that as well. We have endorsed the city's use of tax increment financing districts, public-private partnerships, retail sales tax abatement, and business development grants. Our commercial property owners, their tenant businesses, and the customers of those businesses contribute a substantial portion to the operating budgets of the city, the public school district, the park district, the public library, and many more taxing bodies via their sales, property, and utility taxes, permits, and fees. Sales, property, and utility tax is the city's single largest revenue source. And at more than $11 million per year, retail sales tax accounts for 28% of the city's general fund revenues. And of that amount, up to 45% is generated by Elmhurst auto dealerships, retailing both new and used cars, doing service and selling car-related car parts and products. Elmhurst's 2,500-some businesses also provide gainful employment for tens of thousands who contribute to the city's economic health as residents and/or consumers. And finally, I want to applaud you here today and hundreds of other chamber members whose loyal support and steadfast commitment has earned our chamber the respect of government, residents, and peers. I thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great 2016.
And now we all know what they've been doing in Springfield. They've been all meeting with John. For our recognition of outgoing directors, the 2015 officers, and for brief comments, that is, brief comments, we welcome to the podium our immediate past chair of the Chamber's Board, D. Longfellow.
What was that word, brief? I may be a wordsmith, but I don't know if I've heard of that one. But I am from the D. Longfellow. I'm the editorial coordinator for the Elmhurst Independent newspaper, the one that brings you news such as this. The Addison Street parking PEC is opening January 15th. Do you see that typo there? Right in the headline. Yeah. That's me, but it got past a copy editor and my boss, so. I do want to recognize the people that have been on the executive board this year. For now, just kind of giving them a shout out. Our treasurer was Charity Algram. Where are you? Can you say a little hi? Yeah, thank you. And the first vice chair who ended up getting a different job and having to kind of move on, we're also going to give him a little salute later, but I want to say hi to Mike Himmis. Where are you, Mike? Can you wave to everybody? There he is. Thanks. And Tim Gurry, who is coming up as our new chairman of the board. He'll be up here in a minute. And I got something last year that I'm going to give to him. Yes. Something I'm going to give to him, and that is that last year when I became chairman of the board, I realized I really don't know that much about Robert's rules, so maybe I should get something to help me. So I ordered online this cheat sheet, this handy guide that you could just keep at your side. Look at this. Look at this. 6 laminated pages, and I don't know, but even if you're up close, can anybody read that print? I mean, maybe if there's somebody in here that's 30, but you got to be kidding me. You're supposed to look at this. Listen, Tim, I'll tell you something. Your Robert's Rules cheat sheet guide is standing right here. He knows everything.
I object.
So are we doing this to the,
Yeah,
Now?
before you say your words,
Oh, we're gonna
departing
do
words, why don't we go ahead and call
Mike Himmis?
up,
Okay, do. Mike Himmis, come on up.
his retiring director plaque.
Mike is receiving his retiring director's plaque because he served us well, had to step aside.
So why don't you come over here and present it to him? And Mike, the good news is you don't have to say anything. All right. Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, tilt it forward just a little. And that way, wherever Tessa is, she's going to get a photograph of that. Yeah.
Good.
Where's Tessa at?
Yeah. She's,
There she is.
There she is, way back
All right.
there.
Paul's over here too.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, that's right.
And now one for the people in the other room.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, they're being quiet this year.
Thank you very much. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Mike.
And speaking of last year, they were a little noisier last year. But speaking of last year, I want to next acknowledge my predecessor, who was immediate past chair this past year, and that's Julie Miller Sheehan. Where are you? Oh, there she is. I was going to say, she's usually wrapped around Pat somewhere. Thank you. I kind of shortchanged her last year because when it was time to pass the gavel, I just kind of handed her the gavel and away we went. But I got to tell you something about her. She was a tough act to follow. She's far more organized than me. She reads all the stuff. I mean, it's amazing. And here's an example of what it's like to work with Julie instead of me. She called John one time to say she was spending a week in Paris. She'd be flying over this day, but she already had this lined up for that, and that lined up for this, and this person will cover this, and that person will cover this, and everything's fine, and see you later. I called John and said, hey, I'm driving up to Milwaukee for the weekend. Which leads us into John Quigley. John, here's another thing about working with me that's not like working with Julie. I called up John on March 20th, and I said, I don't understand, John. I know we're going to Springfield on the 22nd, and you haven't sent anything. We don't know what time we're leaving. I don't know who's going. I mean, you usually get us details like this, about this by now. And he said, that's probably because, Dee, it's April 22nd we're going. It's not March. Hey, it's better to be a month early than a month late, so, right? You know? So I want to say a little hello to my friends at the Elmhurst Independent, and thanks for letting me do all this. My boss was not able to be here, which means I can say anything I want. But another thing I kind of slipped on last year that I really need to do is acknowledge our photographer, Paul Del Judas. Please say hello and wave or whatever. You guys might really know him because he pops up at all kinds of events and takes pictures, which is wonderful, and he's a huge help to me. And he did tell me tonight before my speech to be careful because he had no bail money with him. So, one thing I will tell you that's kind of fun is that this week, if you will recall, there's been a lot of things in the news for some reason this year about the 1967 blizzard. Remember that? It just like supposedly, I wasn't living here then, so I don't know, but it like strangulated the whole area. And nobody could get anywhere, and it was hard to even get to Elmhurst Hospital, which is unfortunately where his parents wanted to go because he was born on February 5th in the middle of that blizzard. Just couldn't wait another week or something, huh? No. So, I do appreciate the Elmhurst Independent letting me do this, let me go out and play this last year. My boss is great. I've already told you that. Most of you know him. Most of you know he's great. All bosses need to be a little bit of Mr. Dithers and a little bit of Bill Lumberg. I got to tell you, Pete Kruger is Bill Lumberg. I can say that because he's not here. But his mannerisms are exactly like that. If you could do this, that'd be great. He does that all the time. So, and they need to be a little bit of Donald Trump, I guess. But I have a little something in common with Megyn Kelly, the person that Trump was mad at and he refused to go to the debate. I have a state senator that treats me the same way. I'll just leave it at that. It has been an honor to serve, and I'm really looking forward to the dancers tonight. I think that's going to be great. I do have a little connection to dancing I'd like to tell you about before I get off the stage here, and that is my grandmother was a professional dancer, and that was back in the 20s, in the late 1900s, whatever, and she was actually a Ziegfeld girl. Isn't that exciting? Yeah. Well, when she left, when she stopped performing, she started her own dance school, her own dance studio. And one of the things, you know, in business, you got to supply and demand. You find out somebody needs something, and you put in, you supply it, right? Well, one of the things, according to a little brochure my grandmother had in her studio, one of the things that she taught was the art of the minstrel. Anybody know what a minstrel show is? Yeah, you're just being nice. Minstrel shows are pretty, they don't do them anymore because they're very, very racist. But it was basically a bunch of white men putting on blackface and doing very stereotypical jokes. And it was a show, and it was, you know, isn't that great? So they don't do them anymore, imagine that. But at the time they did, and they didn't have anybody that was teaching how to do it. So my grandmother made that part of her curriculum. And, you know, a little embarrassing now, but I guess we all have dark things in our past, don't we? So, that kind of wraps me up, I think. I thank you very much for your help and support over the past year. I've needed it, and I'm glad that I had it. And I hope nobody's using the word basically. Last year I said, let's stop using the word basically, because basically it's an unnecessary word that you basically don't need. So I hope everybody gave that up. So basically, that's my time. I'm stepping down. Thank you.
Dee's going to stay up here a little while longer for our recognition of the passing of the gavel and the announcement of 2016 Chamber officers. And for his brief comments, please welcome the new chair, the current chair of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce, Tim Gurry.
Let's dance.
He's giving it to you.
Oh, that's what I thought. Here, you're giving this to me. Who's giving what to what? Who?
I'm going to give it to you.
Oh, I bet you are.
This is yours.
Thank you.
Get off the stage.
Okay. Well, this is yours. You can read it. God bless.
I agree with Dee that my Robert's Rules of Order is a quick study, because I quickly go to John when I go, are everybody ready to vote? And he goes, no, not yet, not yet, let's do something else. All right, I have 6 or 7 pages of things that I'm not going to say. First of all, good evening to you all, and thank you, John, Dee, Ken. This is a great honor, but what I would like to do first, I would like to welcome my family members who have come in from near and far to support me so I don't fall off the stage up here and have too much to drink. I'd like to introduce from Sun City, Arizona, my brother and his wife, Phil and Linda Gurry. From Maple Grove, Minnesota, a suburb of Minneapolis, my sister, Cookie Starkey. All the way from Aurora, my stepdaughter, Susie, and her great husband, and they're both not great, her great husband, Brad, Susie, and Brad Bell. Yes, okay. And all the way from Tampa, via Guatemala surfing trip, my son, Dr. Christopher Gurry. And strolling around meeting more people and learning how to network tonight, my stepson, Matt Ikas, from down on the river in DuPage County. And last but not least, my partner in many adventures for the last 20-some years, all the way from Downers Grove, Illinois, my lovely adventurer, Karen Gurry. And the only two we're missing tonight are the grandkids, Michaela and Colin. How you doing out there? You should be in bed right now. Okay. The introduction of the chamber officers, I think it was Ulysses S. Grant, I'm not sure, but I think his quote was, "To be a great leader, surround yourself with great people." And I am very fortunate this year to have a real great group for the chamber officers. I would like to recognize, first of all, our first vice chair, Joe Uchow. Joe will head up the marketing committee. Our second vice chair, who will head up the membership committee, my fun group, Charity Algram. Where's Charity? And our treasurer, who will head up Ways and Means, Ralph Pisciani. Where are you, Ralph? There he is. All right. I feel this is a nice honor and a privilege to be elected the new chair of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce. As many of you know, I first came to town back in the early 2000s, and I was told earlier that I've known a certain person in this group over 15 years, and I can't believe it was that long ago. But I came here as a bank branch manager, and first thing I would always do when I would go to a new town, when I would get transferred around, I'd always inquire about the Chamber of Commerce and who was who and what was what. So I went to my colleague at the other branch and inquired about the president of the Chamber of Commerce. And she told me that every time she tried to get a hold of him, he was out playing golf. And I said to her, "This is a chamber I'm going to love to join." When I did go to the chamber office and sign up, I was very happy and pleased and relieved to meet and see an old friend, Barb Savage. And I know you're out there, Barb, somewhere. Believe it or not, I think I've known Barb since she was like 18 or 19, which is about 10 years ago. But I've met a lot of new friends at the branch down at on York Road. You got to remember Riley's. Anybody ever been to Riley's? The boys over at Riley's, they got a great grilled cheese and bacon sandwich over there. I've gotten to know Dr. Douglas Kay, the dentist. It's always fun to go to his office for a cleaning and go out of there 3 hours later happy because he gave you a crown. James and Eva Sanchez. I met Eva at another chamber, and she's come back to Elmhurst here. Scott Algram, who helped you through your sad times. And I put this in because she was harassing me when I first got here, Diane McGinnis at the hospital. And Scott Levin, who said, "It's always good to know another attorney." Thank you, Scott. And he's not here tonight, but I know he's here in spirit. Paul Cook, I have forgotten how many Jeeps and trucks and Chryslers we have purchased from him. And I've met many, many others over the years now, and we've done business with each other and for each other. And that is what I love to do, is to network, helping one business meet another business for the good of both. I will continue to help recruit and maintain chamber members and pass the word along to other towns as I go through the year to tell them I am very pleased to be associated with the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Each year, the outgoing chamber board chair presents the Chairman's Award to an individual who has provided that chair with strong support and special assistance during the year. And to make her award, please welcome again, probably for the last time today, Dee Longfellow.
I'm going to do it in tandem.
I'm actually going to speak for Dee. Any objections? By the way, if Scott Levin's the only attorney you know, you need to know another attorney. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that. I'll buy you a drink, okay? It's every year the chairman gets to do a special award, the Chairman's Award, and it can be either a board member or a non-board member who has done some amazing things to help both the chamber, the board, and the chairman get through their year. Dee was of the frame of mind that current director, Joe Muchow, would be an ideal person to do that. Joe, in November, was elected to the exec committee as first vice chair, making him chair of the marketing committee in 2016. He's been a member of our governmental affairs committee since joining the board back in 2011. He is the president of E.L. Faust in the North Business Park, and he's been the president since 1997. And before that, he was the general manager starting back in 1989. And E.L. Faust has been a chamber member since 1996, and E.L. Faust manufactures high-quality air purifiers for allergy and asthma sufferers, and it offers a line of green, eco-friendly cleaning projects for your work and your home. Joe has been instrumental. He's represented our chamber on various city boards and commissions, and those are all volunteer. They offer to do that and give up several nights a month to be able to serve both the city and the chamber's needs. And Dee thought that made Joe the perfect person to give this award. Would you welcome to the stage our 2015 Chairman's Award winner, Joe Muchow of E.L. Faust.
I got a little prepared thing, but not real short. Speech. Not brief, but short.
All right, I'll make a speech then.
Well, this is unbelievable for me to be getting an award like this is very neat. So I'm really pleased that this has happened. I want to thank Dee and John and all the chamber members. First off, the ones who voted me into the chamber on the board a number of years ago, but also the opportunities that the chamber has given me to be a better part of the community, both on the business end, the civic organizations I've been in touch with, and I've seen some actual results from those volunteer things that I did. The North York Road area is already starting to show some fruits of that whole York Road wish list that we put together back about 3 years ago, I guess. And it's starting to shape up there, and it's starting to look nice. So if you're not up at North York Road much, come on up there and take a look. And I think that's the key for all chamber members. Don't be afraid to step up and help out, because it's a lot of stuff you can do to become a better person in the city. And that's probably about it. I also want to thank my wife and my family. They have supported me with all the extra time that I've spent doing these things. But certainly I couldn't do it without them. They're a big part of my life. In fact, they are the most important part.
Very welcome.
We have your pictures.
Can I get a picture here?
All right. Why don't we do like this?
Yeah, we can both just hold this.
All right.
Oh, we need to.
Thanks for your great stuff.
Oh, you're welcome. You deserve it.
No, your jokes are great.
Okay. I try.
I totally enjoy it. Oh, absolutely. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, I've asked John to join me up here because he'll be making this next presentation. They're quite recognizable in their green jackets. There are several green jackets in the room, and they represent the chamber at ribbon cuttings and public events. They are the ambassadors, and each year there is an Ambassador of the Year award made, and this year John Quigley will be presenting to Tim Gurry.
So the green-coated ambassadors are basically the public relations arm of the chamber. When a new business comes to town, They moved locations. They're celebrating an anniversary. Our green-coated ambassadors go out there, and they do ribbon cuttings for them. On Thursday night, they were at Orange Theory Fitness, which just opened up in the Addison Parking Peck, I guess it's called now, the Parking Peck. It's got a nice ring to it, though, you know. So they're the first business into the retail slots on the parking deck along Addison and then the Schiller Walkway. So they were in there for a ribbon cutting. Our ambassadors over the course of a year can do as many as 100 ribbon cuttings. So it's not an easy job to do. Commit the time and attend. Tim, who's been a Pampered Chef consultant since 2010, was recently elected to his second 3-year term on the board of directors, and obviously he then got elected as board chair for 2016. Last year he served as second vice chair on the exec committee and also chaired the membership committee. He is only a 5th-year member of our chamber ambassadors, but he is now a 2-time recipient, one of only 5 chamber ambassadors to win 2 or more times. He last won in 2012. Tim actually had more than 40 years of experience in the banking business, and that's how he first got involved with our Chamber of Commerce. And when Tim left, he was at a couple banks in Elmhurst, and then when he left to go outside our community, we were all crying because we walked around going, wow, Tim's one of the guys who gets it. He understands it, and it's our loss. And then the moment he became a Pampered Chef consultant, he came right back to us, and we're all the better for it. He's also been involved in the Chambers of Commerce in Burbank and Homer as both a director and ambassador. So we're not the only chamber that he's heavily involved in, but he certainly committed most to us, and we appreciate it. And would you congratulate our 2015 Ambassador of the Year, Tim Gurry of Pampered Chef TLG. Tim? Where you at, Tessa? Paul, you coming over? I'm here. Okay.
I'd be in trouble if I didn't. Thank you. Thank you.
And he's going to get a chance to speak as an awardee, so
I gotta talk again? Okay, let's see.
don't tell me you put your speech on your phone.
Yeah, I did.
That's a bad idea.
I did.
That can go bad in so many ways.
Oh, it's. It's not gonna work. Oh, well. Thank you, again. I'm glad to see a few green coats out there. James, you got yours on, and Jackie's over there, and a few more. Oh. I don't know who this is. Hello? Yes? I'm sorry, I had to take, I'm sorry, John. Hello? Yes? Oh, good. I'll tell him. I'll tell him. Thank you. Thanks for calling. John, that was a nighttime intern over at the chamber office. She said that the emergency ribbon cutting that we were supposed to have tonight at 10:30 over at Lexington Square for the Nocturnal Granny's Yahtzee Club has been postponed because they all fell asleep. But that reminds me, all you little leaguers out there, if you're going to be a good green-coated ambassador, you got to always be prepared and have something with you at all times. You know, I usually carry an extra ribbon in case somebody forgets it at the chamber office. You never know. You never know. You always be prepared. There you go. Way. Told you to go home. Anyway, I enjoy the networking. I enjoy the ribbon cuttings, and it's a lot of fun. My thing is networking and getting businesses together. And I always wanted to be remembered as a good ambassador and just be a small footnote in the history of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to bounce ahead a little bit, 27 years when we're celebrating our 125th anniversary of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce. And John and Ken are sitting over on the porch over at Lexington Square talking about the good old days. And Dee Longfellow is about to interview them about their past escapades. And Dee says to John, John, do you remember a guy by the name of Tim Gurry? And John goes, Tim Gurry. Yeah, I remember that guy. But he wasn't that perfect. And Ken turns to him and says, but he was pampered. I thank you.
Thanks, Tim. I think I'll have to think on that a little while. Actually, the remembering Tim Gurry part's what I'm going to have to work on. Now, the Civic Hall of Fame, and you know, annual awards are wonderful. The Civic Hall of Fame are Lifetime Achievement Awards. It's the most exclusive club in Elmhurst. Chamber's Civic Hall of Fame started in 1992, welcomes its 24th inductee this evening. Part of the tradition is we take a couple of minutes and we read the names of all the previous inductees as a tribute to their service to our community. And I'm delighted that there are 3 on this list who are in the room this evening, and I'll make sure that they get recognized when I read their names. But Joe Newton, Eleanor King Hookham, Ivan Frick, Joseph Wagner, Jean Hazelhorst, Robert Magnuson, Virginia Harmon, Lee Daniels, Tachi Taronis, William Gooch Jr., Willis Johnson, who is here in the room. Willis, you want to stand up, please? Right here on table 11. Willis Johnson. Thank you, Willis. Fred Messerschmidt, James Van Ewick, Jackie Haddad, Thomas Myers Jr. Tom, I know you're right there at table 10. Thank you, sir. Abner Gannett, Jan Pauli, Robert Schiller, Thomas Marcucci, Rich Grodsky, Pete Kruger, Doug Beach, and Betsy Hainish. Betsy is here. Betsy, where are you? Oh, I'm sorry, right over there. The distinctiveness of this award is that it is bestowed with great simplicity and directness. The award and the awardees easily stand on their own merits. So please join me in welcoming to the podium this year's Civic Hall of Fame inductee, Ralph Piccianio. Now, with Ralph up here, and before I present him with his plaque, he's given me permission to share a secret with you. Over the last several years, the Chamber has benefited from a fund set up to annually provide assets for student interns from Elmhurst College to work at the Chamber. The fund, which has assisted the Chamber with many interns over many years, has been funded by an anonymous donor. But tonight, I get to share with you that Ralph Piccianio has been that donor, and we can now thank him for that gracious assistance over time. So, the plaque reads, Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry Civic Hall of Fame, Ralph Piccianio. Considerate, compassionate, complete, the perfect volunteer. Presented at the Chamber's Annual Awards, January 29, 2016. Congratulations, Ralph.
Before I get started, I want to recognize Ken Bartels. Ken was affectionately known as the voice of Elmfest, and for so many years. He has been, and He's also been the MC of every one of our Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, starting from the very first in 1992. Please thank Ken. Thank you. To be recognized as a member of the Elmhurst Chamber's Civic Hall of Fame is the highest honor that can be given to a member of the Elmhurst community. The city's appropriate motto is, Elmhurst, a proud community, and I couldn't be prouder to accept this award. I am most proud to represent Elmhurst in everything I do. All in all, I have been very fortunate. I have lived the American dream, fortunate to have had caring parents who saw to it that I was raised properly and given the opportunity to attend DePaul University. Fortunate that my education gave me an advantage when I was drafted during the Vietnam War. Fortunate that I was introduced to the savings loan industry and after gaining experience was hired in 1970 as controller of Elmhurst Federal. Fortunate that I met my wife Georgette and that we settled in Elmhurst prior to my opportunity with Elmhurst Federal. Grateful that we raised our children, Matthew and Polly, in this wonderful community. Thanks to my hiring by Fred Messerschmidt, a great Kiwanian and a Civic Hall of Fame member, I was able to help grow a business and raise a family in Elmhurst. However, I never had a dog to walk. Fred told me the job was more than keeping a set of books, and he promptly introduced me to the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Do any of you remember John Jordan and Jane Baker? The Chamber has been a constant in my life ever since. It has been a pleasure to do whatever I could for Elmhurst, the business community, and the Chamber. As circumstances would have it, my turn came to be the Chamber's president in 1992. Our executive manager was A.J. Tachi Taronis, and together we met challenges, provided solutions, and gratefully had memorable success. Tachi unfortunately died in July of 1999 and is a posthumous member of our Hall of Fame, class of 2000. Our greatest challenge in 1992 was presented to us by a Elmhurst Veterans Committee headed by Bill Ralston and Lyle Johnson. Don Kempf is the only remaining member of that group. They requested the Chamber's leadership to raise the funds needed for an appropriate Elmhurst Veterans Memorial to be built in Wilder Park. Thanks to a unified effort by the good members of the Chamber and the city, the Park District, and the people of Elmhurst, we dedicated the memorial on Memorial Day, 1993. Before the memorial was built, I was asked by the veterans to chair the city's required commission to administer its care and operations. I have done so to this day. We have honored hundreds and hundreds of deceased Elmhurst veterans. In February of 1993, I retired from Elmhurst Federal as Chief Financial Officer upon our sale to St. Paul Federal. I promptly joined the Kiwanis Club of Elmhurst, became active in the newly formed Elmhurst Economic Development Corporation, and of course, spent time at the Chamber in support of their activities. I also picked up a realtor's license and helped Tom Myers, another Hall of Famer, with his senior housing project that stands on North York Road. In 2000, I found my second career on the outside golf staff of the Willowcrest Golf Club at Oprah Hills Resort, where I've just finished my 16th season. After the 1996 Memorial Day Parade, my friend Bill Ralston of the American Legion came to me again and asked if I would take over for them and organize the annual parade. I told them I would do that as long as the chamber would be my partner, and we have done so. John Quigley has been my valuable partner and co-chairman for the past 16 years following Tachi's death. We have given new life to the parade, and after many years, Memorial Day now is the most significant day of the year in Elmhurst. Our activities couldn't take place without the help and support of the city, police, fire, Park District, and obviously our veterans, headed by Bill Shanklin, and the good offices and members of the chamber, and of course, our parade cast of thousands. I have been a chamber ambassador since 1992, and will continue to do that as long as I'm able. Elmhurst has made great strides since I came here in 1970, and it will continue to do so as long as we live up to our motto of Elmhurst, a proud community. Thank you again for this great honor.
Each year, the Chamber selects from within its membership a Business of the Year. And I would ask John Quigley and a representative of last year's awardee, West Suburban Office Products, John Rathje, to come to the podium to make this year's award to Cafe Amano.
Our 2015 Business of the Year, the A.J. Tachi Turonis Business of the Year, so named following his passing in July of 1999, is Cafe Amano. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Cafe Amano opened in downtown Elmhurst in February of 2005 on the south side of the railroad tracks at the corner of York Street and Park Avenue, and in 2014 relocated into the too oft-vacant Schiller Street restaurant space within the City of Elmhurst Municipal Parking Garage on Schiller. Chamber member since 2005, Cafe Amano is owned and operated by the team of Chef Marco Conte and Chris Di Potesta, who will be up here shortly. And it's been their travels throughout Europe and around the world that has defined and continued to refine the restaurant's menu and catering cuisine. This is really an unusual situation. The restaurant business is a tough business. The margin for error is so small. You see restaurants open and fail all the time. And this restaurant has found a niche, grew on that niche, moved into a location where restaurant after restaurant has failed before them, and they've made it work there. They are committed to the restaurant, they are committed to downtown Elmhurst, and they are committed to Elmhurst. Would you congratulate our 2015 A.J. Tachi Turonis Business of the Year, Cafe Amano. Come on up, guys. So why don't one of you get on each side of John? And we want to turn this forward so you can see that. So they will have this traveling trophy for the next year, and then they'll be back here next year to present it to the next winner. But we're going to call them up and let them say a few words. Before we do, though, I want to make sure before John leaves the stage, we have a permanent plaque for them to display showing their award as the Business of the Year for 2014. So you can hand that off to them. Yeah, who's going to take it? I'll hand that off to you. Are you both going to speak, or?
I'm just going to say quick things.
Oh, it's the chef of the future. Marco, come on up.
Thank you, everyone. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of the incredible people that I've met over the past 11 years, being a part of Cafe Amano and bringing food and keeping it new and exciting all throughout the years, and I'll continue to do that. So everyone have a fantastic night, and thank you.
Just a few moments, we are going to have our entertainment. They're excited. You've been hearing them. And that's just, that's terrific. Before we do that, I want to thank the Planning Committee for tonight's event. I want to thank the leadership represented in the room. And I also want to thank Jake Medding and John Quigley for the video that was looped all during the cocktail hour. And lastly, I'd like one more rousing applause for all of our awardees tonight. They are very deserving. So before I introduce the entertainment, if you got involved in Split the Pot raffle, you need to get your tickets out. We're going to draw the ticket. The winner, approximately $600 or so, I'm told.
Splitting $600.
Splitting $600. Splitting $600.
It does indeed.
This ticket says Fire Chief. So who put Fire Chief on a ticket?
I bet the fire
Chief
chief
did.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to be present to win. No, I mean, I'm only kidding. We'll make sure that the fire chief receives his half. Two last things before we head out for our rest of our evening. Our award-winning Cafe Amano has indicated that those of you that aren't the fire chief and have any of these, free appetizers tomorrow at Cafe Amano, so thank them very much for that. And all of the, all of the award winners of tonight, if you would come up to the podium when we're all done here, we want to get a few more formal photographs. Thank you all for being a part of the Chamber event this year. Come back next year. Thank you very much.
I'm John Quigley, President and CEO of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry. In these challenging economic times, it's imperative that our residents and businesses band together to not only shop Elmhurst, but buy Elmhurst whenever possible. We have great stores in our city center, Spring Road, Butterfield Road, York and Villette Streets, St. Charles and Route 83, North Avenue and Lake Street, along North York and even Grand Avenue. I ask for your help. Let's keep our tax dollars in Elmhurst.